Hello everyone, glad to be back. It's still 9 of August. Now it's 10 past 8 in the evening, Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my second update for the day, in which I will share all the main news for this moment that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. There are quite a few very significant developments and the news that I like to share with you for now, but before I start, let me address one crucial topic for our project, which is how to deal with the extremely aggressive YouTube algorithm that are suppressing independent channels, especially ones that are operating in this segment of news and political commentary and are located in Russia, like my channels. And I had a good reason to think about it, especially today, because morning's update, even though entire day has gone by, did not even reach 3,000 views, which is telling me that YouTube algorithm is not sending notifications to members of our community. Only few members are receiving notification, and even less probably are seeing my videos on main page on YouTube. And well, while I was thinking how to deal with this issue, I come up with two simple steps. First is to subscribe on my Telegram page. If you are not yet subscribed, I will share links to my updates on daily basis, at least few times. So whenever you have a time, you can scroll and easily find the link to my latest updates. That's one step. You will find the link of my Telegram page under this video in description box and in the pinned comment. It's free, by the way. It's a free subscription. And the second step is likes and comments. Please, if you can, click like button and leave a commentary, one or several commentaries about any topic. Not just on relevant news, but just about anything, weather, sport. Just tell me hi. Anything will work, I guess, because numbers do influence YouTube's algorithm. And if we have hundreds of comments under each video, I guess YouTube algorithm will be forced to at least send notifications to members of our community. That's steps that I come up with. If you have better ideas, please share your idea in comment section. And yes, I mean, that's a reality that we are dealing with. And well, even though I'm quite sure it's important it's important Russian point of view to be seen by audience worldwide, including in the West. But unfortunately, there is not that many opportunities to spread the word from Russia. But we have to try. You know. That's been said. Let's talk about news now. And by the way, if I may, I will conduct this second updates in a style that I'm using on my Patreon. It's gonna be informal talk and news summary, because it's evening now, and I spend all day right next to notebook reading and listening to so many news that it's impossible to not get a little bit tired from so many news. And well, I will use this casual style of reporting, informal talk. And by the way, I will start, if I may, I will start with the summary of situation on the front line. Russian Defense Ministry did share with us additional information about previous 24 hours, and I will give you main topics of statements from defense ministry, and let's go sector by sector. When it comes to Kupyansk direction, which is northern sector of the front, according to Russian defense ministry, Ukrainian forces lost up to 75 servicemen, 2 armored fighting vehicles, 3 mortars, 1 Polish manufactured Krab self-propelled artillery system, 1 US manufactured AN TPQ-50 counter battery radar station. In comparison to previous days, activity on the Kupyansk direction is little less, but still local scale skirmishes and local scale battles are taking place, as you can see. And we do have, as I mentioned in the first update, we do have almost on daily basis now reports that Russian forces are managing to improve their positions in the northern sectors from Liman to Kupyansk, and even move forward for hundreds or sometimes even for thousands of meters or kilometers. Now let's talk about Donetsk direction. According to Russian Defense Ministry, Ukrainian side did lost 370 servicemen in Donetsk direction, 2 tanks, 6 armored fighting vehicles, 4 motor vehicles, 2 US manufactured M777 artillery systems, 1 Polish manufactured Krab self-prepared artillery units, and 1 D-20 howitzers. As you can see, a fight in Donetsk direction is very intense. It's a local scale fight, of course, but it's still very intense. And as I reported in the morning's update, we did receive reports that Russian side was very actively engaging in artillery duels in Marinka and Krasnogorovka areas, and even conducting some offensive operations. And I guess this is partially, these numbers partially are results of these offensive operations. But still, I will say that in Kupyansk and in Donetsk direction, even though there are some fierce fighting between the sides, it's still operational pause or deadlock, that when nothing is happening in the scale that will influence overall situation on the battlefield. Despite these fierce fightings, local scale fightings, let's talk about Zaporozhiya direction. So according to Russian Defense Ministry, in Zaporozhiya sector, Ukrainian side did lost 40 servicemen, 3 armored fighting vehicles, 4 motor vehicles, 1 Gvozdika self-prepared artillery system, and 1 D-30 howitzer. Well, in Zaporozhye sector of the front, it's operational pause, it's deadlock. And after previous days of activity from Ukrainian side, when they were trying to conduct offensives in direction of Rabotina, I guess they lost steam, and without further reinforcements, they will be unable to continue their offensive operations. Krasny Liman direction, according to Russian Defense Ministry, in this sector, Ukrainian forces lost 80 servicemen, 2 armored fighting vehicles, 3 pickup trucks, 1 D-20 howitzer. So from Liman to Kupyansk direction, it's significantly less activity in previous 24 hours in comparison to previous days, but still some fierce fighting are taking place, and especially artillery duels. When it comes to South Donetsk direction, this area, South Donetsk direction, is quite active, especially in direction of Vremovsky Ledge. And according to Russian Defense Ministry, Ukrainian side did lost up to 180 servicemen in this sector, 1 tank, 3 armored fighting vehicle, 2 pickup truck, 1 Polish manufactured Krab self-prepared artillery system, 2 Gyacinth B guns, 1 Akatsiya self-prepared howitzer. Significant fighting, significant losses on part of Ukrainian army, and I guess without further reinforcement, Ukrainian forces would not be able to continue their offensive in direction of Urozhaina settlement, in which they did manage to enter for a brief time, according to some reports, but they were forced to step back from this settlement after Russian side conducted a counteroffensive. And when it comes to Kherson direction, according to Russian Defense Ministry, Ukrainian side lost up to 50 servicemen in this sector, 2 motor vehicles, 1 US manufactured M777 artillery system, 1 Gyatsind-B gun, 1 Gvozdika self-prepared artillery system, as well as 1 D-30 howitzer. Operational, tactical and army aviation, missile troops and artillery of armed forces of Russian Federation have neutralized manpower and military hardware in 132 areas during previous 24 hours. And 9 Russian air defense systems did manage to shut down 9 missiles from HIMARS MLRS multi-launch rocket system. In addition, 35 Ukrainian drones were shut down in different areas of the front line. This is, by the way, summary on situation on the front on previous 24 hours from Russian Defense Ministry. Of course, we can take this information with a pinch of salt, but previous experience did highlight that in comparison to Ukrainian Defense Ministry's report, Russian Defense Ministry is much more reliable. So that's been said. Let's talk about some other news now. And when it comes to the front line, summary of the front line, I just share information. Let's go through some other news. And RIA Novosti is reporting that this evening Zelensky's regime did shell Donyetsk city with cluster munition and as 155 millimeter artillery. And according to latest information, as a result of shelling of Donetsk, one young girl was killed, and one woman was wounded. This is according to Denis Pushilin. And by the way, later on, very same person, Denis Pushilin, head of DPR, did share information that two more civilians were also injured during this shelling of Donetsk. Pure war crime. It's a clear war crime. No other way to describe it. But that was expected, isn't it? Whenever we did receive information that US will deliver cluster munition to Zelensky's regime, it's become obvious that they will use this cluster munition against civilian areas. And Donetsk, not the first time, becoming target for this type of weapons. Just recently, as a result of shelling of Donetsk, if you remember, one of the universities were destroyed. Let me continue now, and according to RIA Novosti news agency, 56 people were injured during the explosion in one of the factories in Sergiev Posad. I did report about this explosion in the first update this morning, and also on my Telegram page. And the latest information is that one of the injured persons unfortunately died as a result of injuries, and several more people are in very critical condition. According to information that we are receiving from different media outlets, investigation is concentrated, at least for now, on version that explosion did occur because of some safety protocols were not conducted properly in one of the facilities in the territory of that factory. But yet again, let's wait for official statements from investigation. It's quite possible that it was a accident, although whenever this type of accidents are happening, of course, many people are beginning to think that maybe it was a sabotage or maybe it was a drone strike or something like that. It's difficult times, and people are quite stressed out, and unfortunately, whenever this type of tragedies are happening, people are thinking that it's Ukrainian side or Zelensky's regime was involved one way or another. Let me continue. And by the way, today Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu did made quite significant statements today afternoon, and here we have a report about it from RIA Novosti News Agency, although every other media outlets also report about it, that according to Russian Defense Ministry, Warsaw, leadership of Poland, are working on the plans to occupy western regions of Ukraine, to send its troops in the western regions of Ukraine and occupy this region. To do so, according to Russian Defense Ministry, Warsaw is planning to create some combined armed forces with Ukrainian militaries. For nobody, probably information that Poland is preparing plan to introduce its forces to western Ukraine probably wouldn't surprise anyone, but I was surprised when I heard that Warsaw is planning to create some combined units, military units for this operation together with the Ukrainian armed forces. It may work. Poland may find Ukrainians that will participate in this operation, but main issue, main problem for Warsaw will be neo-Nazi units in Ukraine that will probably not gonna receive this information with open arms, or Polish troops with open arms in western Ukraine. Let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. But this is, by the way, I guess first time when Russian Defense Minister openly stated that Warsaw is working on the plans or planning to occupy some territories of western Ukraine. Let me continue. TASS news agency is reporting that even CNN, by the way, this propaganda outlet of the US neocons and so-called neoliberals, even CNN is forced to acknowledge that Ukrainian counteroffensive is not going as well as Western elites and Western propaganda outlets were hoping for, and CNN has an interview with the expert or analytic Stephen Collinson, who basically confirmed everything that we were discussing on our programs, on our channel, that Ukrainian counteroffensive is failing. It did failed already. Of course, Collinson did not use these words, but he did said that Ukrainian counteroffensive is slow in progress, and entire this conflict is entering new phase, more difficult phase for Ukrainian side, especially because of this unsuccessful, at least for now, counteroffensive of Ukrainian army in direction of that land bridge between Crimea and the mainland Russia. Well, I guess this type of articles or this type of interviews in Western TV stations and with Western media outlets gonna become usual stuff in foreseeable future, because even though Western elites are trying to suppress any alternative sources of information, one way or another, societies in the Western states are gaining more and more information about situation in Ukraine, about situation on the front line or situation in Russia, and more informed societies are in the West, more questions they are beginning to ask. And well, these so-called elites or ruling class of the Western states and their propaganda outlets are basically forced to acknowledge that not everything is going according to plans that they had or expectations that they had. But anyway, let's continue. RIA Novosti is reporting that today armed forces of Ukraine did try to strike once again Zaporozhiya nuclear power plant. There was quite a few weeks now that Zelensky's regime was not targeting Zaporozhiya nuclear power plant, but today we did receive information that Ukrainian armed forces did launch attack drones in direction of let me translate this. Let me translate into this phrase here. So Ukrainian military tried to attack the storage of spent nuclear fuel at the Zaporozhiya nuclear power plant. Near RIA Novosti was told in the Russian power structures. So I guess a drone was neutralized, shut down, or suppressed by radio electronic warfare system. But as I said, this is first time for quite a long time, at least for a few weeks, that Ukrainian side did try to strike Zaporozhiya nuclear power plant. Maybe we will see escalation in direction of Zap NPP in coming days. After all, this waterway, Kakhovka water reservoir, is empty, by the way, and in some areas it's quite easy to cross. It's quite easy to cross this empty reservoir, basically, and even conduct strike in direction of Zaporozhiya nuclear power plant and Energodar. So maybe in coming days we will see activization of Ukrainian forces in this direction. As you know, Ukrainian forces are quite active when it comes lately when it comes to the Dnieper River in Kherson region. They are sending more and more actively recon and the small groups to establish some bridgeheads on the left bank, somewhat successfully. And maybe, and I believe this is a preparation for mass crossing of the Dnieper, and maybe when this possible second wave of Ukrainian counteroffensive begins in the Zaporozhiya and Donyetsk sectors of the front, maybe simultaneously we will see attempt from Ukrainian side to conduct mass crossing of the Dnieper River and also crossing of practically empty Kakhovka water reservoir in direction of Zap NPP and Energodar city. It's a possibility, I believe, and if I think about it, I guess analytics and experts in Russian Defense Ministry also are working on possible scenarios, including this one, and I guess all the necessary steps will be taken to make sure that any offensive movement from Ukrainian armed forces will be met with significant resistance. Let me continue now, and the TASS news agency is reporting that United Arab Emirates did propose to host meeting between Putin and Zelensky, between presidents of Russia and Ukraine, during the COP28 climate summit that will take place in Dubai on 30th of November this year. Interesting proposal, of course, and whenever any country in this world will try to somehow end this conflict, of course, all we can is to applaud all the attempt to reach peace, to end this conflict, but at the very same time, questions are rising. Can Putin ever trust Zelensky or any other representative of Kiev regime? Is it even possible on theoretical level? I have some doubts about it. And that's why this is one of the reasons. Impossibility of trust. One of the reasons why I said many times that in my reading of big picture, this conflict will end after Russian side will neutralize Kiev regime, and after this conflict will end, there will be no more Ukraine as a state on the political map. Most of Ukraine will become under full Russian control, and the western regions of Ukraine probably will be controlled by western neighbors of these failed state like Poland, Hungary, Slovakia, and Romania. But interesting proposal from United Arab Emirates. That's for sure. Let me continue. And by the way, this update probably will be much longer than morning first update for day, and maybe for the future, if I will continue to make these two updates, one in the first half of the day and second in the afternoon, maybe I will try to make a short as possible first update, and in the second update I will share as much news as possible to make sure that updates are informative enough. So well informative, let's say this way. So RT is reporting that most Germans are against sending long-range missiles to Kiev, according to polls, and we have a article here according to which RTL and NTV poll was received on the Tuesday, and according to this poll survey conducted by the Force Research Institute on behalf of the two German channels, find that only 28% of German citizens want their government to supply Ukraine with the Taurus missiles, long-range cruise missiles, which carry 500 kilogram warhead and have a range of about 500 kilometers, making them potentially capable of reaching Moscow. Meanwhile, a clear majority of 66% of German citizens, or people that did participate in this survey, reject their idea. Well, I'm glad that majority of German citizens are against further escalation of this conflict, but unfortunately, I have some doubts that German government will listen to its citizens. That's very unfortunate, of course. Let's continue. RT News, RT also reporting that Western war business is booming, aiming lagging economic growth. We have information here that revenues of top 25 Western defense contractors increased by 11% in the first half of this year and reached 212 billion US dollars. And by the way, this year for 2023 are expected that arms sales of Western military industrial complex will reach $448 billion, marking a $47 billion increase in comparison to last year, and by 2026 Western military industrial complex is hoping to increase its sales more than 20% and reach 554 billion. Well, war is I mean, I don't think for anybody is going to be surprised that war is for military industrial complex and warmongers and corrupt officials. War is opportunity to make not just billions but tens and hundreds of billions of dollars. That's unfortunate reality that we are living in. Let me continue. RIA Novosti is reporting that current regime in Niger did make statement that French special forces conducted military operation and open fire on presidential guard of Niger. This state, France has denied these allegations, but well, of course, it's better to wait for some additional news, but I don't think anybody will be surprised that France will try to somehow sabotage current regime in Niger, especially because they have some anti-colonial stance. That's the main issue for France, for leadership of France. But yet again, this region, not just Niger, but entire region, is on the verge of regional conflict because many states in this region are controlled one way or another by Western governments, especially France and the US or UK, and they made it clear that they may conduct military operation against current regime in current anti-colonial, as I understand, regime in Niger. Let's see how situation developed. And by the way, you may find this information interesting, like I did. RT did report that ex-Australian foreign minister did move to Russian village. And well, former top Austrian diplomat Karin Kneissl had to leave her homeland in 2022 following death threats, and she is currently in Russia. And according to this article, she did brought home in one of the villages in Russia, in central Russia, and recently she even did participate in some local activity, which is well, quite interesting. This person, by the way, was against escalation between Austria and Russia, against escalation between West and the Western elites, Western states and Russia, and well, she did receive death threats, and basically was forced to flee her own country, which once again highlights that all these talks in the West from Western elites about democracy and human rights are just propaganda tools. That's all it is, really. Let's continue. TASS news agency is reporting that in Kazakhstan, domain Yandex KZ was shut down, which is quite interesting. Yandex is a big IT, giant IT company in Russia, and not just IT company. This Yandex is involved in many sectors of the economy, and well, if Kazakhstan's government is somewhat involved in creating some barriers to Russian business, well, it's quite unfortunate because Kazakhstan is a member of quite a few organizations that was created after Soviet Union collapsed by former Soviet republics, and Kazakhstan is a member of Eurasian Economical Alliance, which includes Russia and Belarus also, and Armenia, I believe. And well, recently there was some steps from Astana, that's capital of Kazakhstan, that was that could be interpreted as not really friendly towards Russia. There are some wave of nationalism taking place in Kazakhstan. There are plenty of videos where Russian speakers were harassed in this republic, and well, if Kazakhstan's government are unable to learn lessons of history, then okay. Then okay, if they want to become hostile to Russia, there will be consequences for it, and I don't think Kazakhstan is ready for this, for that. But let's hope relationships between two countries will be on friendly terms. In forever. It will be beneficial for both sides. Let me continue, and yet again, RT is reporting that Russia's pipeline gas exports in decline, according to RBK news agency's analytics. And well, this information is not surprising, of course, because after all, many major buyers of Russian pipeline gas in Europe did refuse to continue contracts with Gazprom. They are now preferring to buy LNG from Qatar and US. Some EU member states are refusing to buy pipeline gas from Russia, but are willing to buy Russian LNG, liquefied natural gas, which is, I mean, to me, don't really makes any sense, because LNG is more expensive than pipeline gas. But well, entire this ordeal with Russian gas in Europe is a political one. It has nothing to do with the business and the economy or free market. So you know, it is what it is. Unfortunately, Russia is losing European market when it comes to transferring gas through pipelines, but Russia is gaining new markets in the east and southeast, and eventually, I'm quite sure in 3 to 5 or 7 to 10 years time, Russian energy exports will be completely diversified or reversed from west to east and southeast, and then even if European states will ask Russia for gas, they may not receive none. That's it, really. But for now, of course, well, there are significant drop. Let me read it few sentences here. So, export of Russian piped gas will decline this year by as much as 34% in comparison to year before. Business Daily RBK reported on Monday. This is Monday's news, by the way, citing the latest projections issued by strategy consultancy Yakov and the partners. The delivery of Russian natural gas via pipelines dropped by nearly 50% in 2022, from 260 billion cubic meters in 2021 to Oh yes, deliveries of Russian natural gas via pipeline dropped by nearly 50% in 2022, and in 2021 Russia was selling 206 billion cubic meters. In 2022 it was only 122 billion cubic meter of gas, and this year this number will drop even further for another 34%, which is huge, of course. But yet again, I'm quite sure Russia will find buyers for Russian gas, and I believe Russian energy companies will pay significant attention to LNG projects, and Russian natural gas will be liquefied and will be delivered worldwide by tankers. Although China, of course, there are many projects in work right now, pipeline projects, and China will of course become a major importer of Russian gas. Let's continue now, and few more news. By the way, Russian central bank did issue statement today, according to which central bank will stop buying foreign currencies until end of this year. Quite understandable step, really, because Russian ruble is failing in rapid pace lately, and any help will be useful when it comes to stabilizing ruble. And if a Russian central bank will stop buying foreign currencies, of course it will a little bit ease pressure on the ruble. And by the way, today, for example, euro exchange rate of euro did reach 107 ruble for 1 euro, and when it comes to dollar, it was trading, or exchange rate was 98. At some point it was 98 rubles for a dollar, which is well, huge, by the way, which is huge. It seems like my prediction will become reality in fairly short amount of time. If you remember, I did predict for quite a long time that Russian ruble before end of this year probably will reach 100 rubles for a dollar, or maybe even more, and where we are very close to that mark. And this is it, by the way. This is it. I hope this is it for today's update. Here, by the way, this TASS news agency's report is not exactly the latest one, because at some point today dollar did reach 98 rubles, but then ruble did regain a little bit position, and right now dollar will cost 97 rubles, and euro is 106.89 rubles. And if you are interested, Brent oil mark Brent costs $86.18 for a barrel. It's important because Russian Urals oil mark, or brand, is price for Russian Urals is based on price for Brent. And yes, this is it. This is it for today's second update. Hopefully you will find this video interesting, and if so, please, it's too hot, by the way. It's too hot. I have no conditioning here, and some extreme weather is occurring on the southern and central regions of Moscow and Russia, sorry, and North Ossetia, Alania is not exception. Its humidity is extremely high, and also temperature, but even in the evening time. But anyway, I hope you will find this video interesting, and if so, please click that like button, leave some commentary about anything, and if you can, please share links to my videos or my channel with your friends on Twitter, Telegram, Facebook, or any other platform that you are active on. Let's tackle YouTube's algorithm. And if you think this channel is interesting, useful, informative, and deserves to exist in this field of news and political commentary, please consider to support with small donations through PayPal, buy me a coffee, or by subscribing to my Patreon page. You will see links under this video in the description box. This is it for now. I wish you a great day, great time, and take care.